Well, hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I got something a little bit different. I happen to be in one of the parks in Winter Park, and it's called the Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which is inside Winter Park. But there's something a little bit different about this park. Right behind me, a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, we actually saw right behind me in this lake that you see here, we actually saw a python. That's correct. Pythons are a problem, and they are also one of the more, I want to say, more frequently seen animals, right? Wild animals, other than gators, right? Because we have a increasingly populated or population of these creatures out here, and now they're showing right in our backyards. And let me tell you something, this one is not a small one. This one's got to be at least 20 feet big, you know. And how do you determine? Well, when we saw it swimming, it was about this thick. But that is not really the only reason that I'm doing this video. Also, the reason that I'm doing this video is because I brought the camera that you guys have been looking at, and you guys have been seeing me shoot with this camera. As a matter of fact, the last video that I shot with Dragon, that is the horse that is being trained to play the Headless Horseman, was shot with this camera using this lens. And why am I talking about this lens other than the Sigma Pro Master? Because although the Pro Master is an awesome lens and is a very good lens for color definition and everything else, I think that that lens has a place, and the place is not one of those that would be the proper lens to possibly take for travel or like if you're going into a park. Because, and the only reason that I'm saying this is because the lens itself is a heavy lens. And when you're carrying a lens that heavy and you're going to do, let's say you're going to the park, either with Disney or Universal for 10, 12 hours, you're going to get tired and it's going to be bulky. This, on the other hand, is not. Okay, this is a super light lens. It is a kit lens. It is a 14 to 42 millimeter. It is a very versatile, very powerful, possibly the only thing that you need to make this camera super light. There is a smaller lens which is sort of like a pancake lens, but either lens is really a great choice to make this a very pleasing camera setup to go out for 10, 12 hours and be able to film, take photos and all that stuff. And I'm going to show you how good this lens is, although it is underrated and not everybody likes it, because everybody seems to like the better lenses. There are better lenses, yes, but as a photographer, remember that the camera is only part of the equation about doing good photography or good cinematography. The other part that plays even a stronger a stronger position in the ability of you being able to take something that is really good, high quality, is you yourself as the person behind the camera. Which means that, do you really know how to set your aperture? Do you really know how to set your shutter speed? Do you really know how to look at colors and how to set your camera? All of that is what makes the whole composition look either bad or better, because I've seen photos with cheaper lenses, Chinese lenses they're costing maybe like $70, take better pictures than people that are taking pictures with $1,000 lenses. So it is not only the equipment that matters, it's also you and how you or how well you work what you have in your hands. So let me show you what I can do with this little camera. I'm going to shoot some photos of the park right now. It is about 3 o'clock, I want to say, in the afternoon. I am under a shaded area which has got a lot of trees and it's sort of a little bit windy. But I'm just going to do some photos. I'm not going to do cinematography, not for this one right now. so you can see the quality of the pictures that can actually be taken with this. So with that said, I'm going to put my back towards you, and I'm going to grab, if you look right here, there's a lot of different greens. Let me sort of get on this side of the camera for you. All right, you can see a lot of different shades of green. All right, if you know how to set your camera correctly, your colors should show the richness of green of the trees. So let's set this up and let's turn it on, and let me set it up. Let me put the lens out, and with the right exposure, I don't know if you can see up in here, bring the camera up here a little bit closer. All right, you can see the different shades of green, right? But those shades of green has to do a lot with what aperture you choose. So I'm going to put it on program mode. Okay, here we got in program mode. All right, and you can see this here, this that you see here is actually a way to be able to measure how good the lighting is. Now with this is my compensation. I'm going to give it a little bit more light, or I can lower. I'm going to put it on aperture instead. It's going to be better. Aperture priority. All right. I change it to aperture priority. And the reason I change it to aperture priority is because I can actually increase the light, but I want the colors, okay, to be very, very sharp. I'm going to give it a little bit of light. This lens goes all the way to 3.5. I've got it at 5.6, and I'm going to give it a little bit more light, all right, so that we can get all those shades that you see right there. And we're going to snap the shot. There's the shot, okay, and I'll show it to you later. And let me see if I can see, let's see, maybe we can take a picture of this bird here. Let me zoom in on this bird. Now what I like about this, okay, if you can see on this side, okay, I can actually double. Here I double. See how I can double? I can put closer. There we go, closer. And we're gonna go this way, and we're gonna put more light. One more. Okay, and we got him. And he actually has some shade in him. And let's see what else we can come up with. Okay, so what we're looking in front of me is a simple plant, all right? But what's nice about this plant, you can see that it's got some white, okay? And it's got some greens to it, as you can see in the bottom, right? But now, if we look at my camera here, right? You can see how my aperture is at 5.6. But at 5.6, I want to give it a little bit more light. So what I want to do is I want to bring it a little bit lower. So I'm going to do maybe a 4, a 5. Okay, brought a little bit more light. But notice that the greens are sort of like, they're not showing so much depth. So I'm going to give it a little bit more light. Notice how the more I actually is raising my compensation, now I can see a little bit more defined, right? And so now I'm going to actually focus on it, shoot, okay? And you can see the difference in the greens now, right? So that's the actual photo. This is more like in macro mode, right? And you can see if I go here and I go there, look how clear, okay, that actual center is. And that's where I want to shoot, right there. And it's super clear, right? So I'm going to go back here, take the box out, bring it back to low. Let me sort of show you. See how clear it is? It's a big difference, okay? Just how you play with the camera. This is a little bit on the darker side, okay, and this is a little bit with a little bit more. I added 0.03 more compensation to it. All right, and this is with the kit lens. Notice the bird here. All right, this is just with the kit lens. All right, and I'm going to show you the photos afterwards. I'm going to put them in big. All right, let's keep shooting so we can see what else we can come up with. Okay, and as you can see, this here is I'm actually about a foot away. All right, if you can show them how close I am to the plant. All right, see how close I am to the plant. All right, now this plant, you know, is pretty close, right? Now this is not a macro lens, but because I can get so near, I can get even closer. All right, but because I can get so near, I can actually create a picture that almost looks like if it was a macro. Let's show them what we can do over here. Okay, it's actually focused. Let's give it a little bit more light. There we go. All right, and we're gonna focus on the middle, and there we go. Now I'm gonna show you that I can come a lot closer. Let me go a lot closer now, and let me go this way. All right, and look how close I am now. Okay, and I can go even closer. Let me go as close as I can. All right, there we go. And let me shoot, and then let me bring it a little bit of better light. There we go. Okay, so this lens, although not being macro, the distance, how close I can actually get to the object is phenomenal. It is really phenomenal, which makes this lens almost like if it was a macro, although it is not a macro. So let me show you something else that's pretty neat with this lens. And a lot of people, you know, in today's style of actually shooting photos, right, they are so into this blurry background called bokeh or bokeh, however you want to pronounce it. And this lens actually can give you a very nice creamy bokeh effect, although it can only go down as low as 3.5 depending on your conditions. You know, depends on how you can create that bokeh effect. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to show you again with this plant, and I'm going to show you the background of the trees, which what you're going to be seeing is a bokeh effect on the background of the trees. So if you come a little bit closer out here, honey, all right, you can see the bokeh effect there. Let me give it a little bit more light. Okay, there we go. And you can see the bokeh effect that is able to capture. Let me do a little bit this way. And let me turn this this way so you can see better. Okay. And give it a little bit of, I want to say like a storytelling, okay? Okay, we're going to move the, there we go, to the center. Oops. There we go, okay, to the center. We want that in focus. And look at that beautiful bokeh effect. Beautiful bokeh effect. Well, the very little things that I've shown you so far, you know, just using this one simple plant behind me, is just to show you that how you use the camera is more important, you know, and you're knowing your basics. It is a lot more important than actually the gear that you have. Yes, the gear is very important, and yes, your lens is very important, obviously, just as well as your camera body. But in my experience, I, for example, love the colors coming off this particular 16 megapixel sensor. And because I like that, and because I like the Olympus, because it's micro four thirds, and the part that I like about micro four thirds is that it is so lightweight to be able to carry with you and be able to do things. If I was doing a professional setup or something where I needed to do much more of a pro, let's say, event, if you want to call it that way, I don't know if I would want to take a Olympus camera, you know, depending. If it was a wedding, for example, I would take something else. I would not take an Olympus. Not that the Olympus doesn't have the ability to do it. Obviously, it does have the ability to do it. But in the real world, you know, Olympus is not a brand like Sony, Canon, or Nikon, which the industry, quote unquote, you know, has a misconception and sort of believes that you are a better photographer just because you have those brands as a camera. And that is not really true. But on the other hand, right, what is true is that if you're not shooting with these brands, most likely, you know, your chances of getting that gig would be minimized, you know, against somebody maybe having the ability to shoot with a gear that's a Sony, Nikon, or Canon. So when you're looking at it in that perspective, yes. But when you're looking at it in a different perspective, something that you're using for yourself to create these videos, something that you want to be able to carry around because it's lighter, something that has the capability, definitely it has the capability. So with that said, you know, I'm still going to try to see if I can find this python, this big python. Now, obviously, the day that we saw it is most likely the day that it was out hunting, and snakes don't eat every single day, so it might be settling. Or the other thing, which might be a possibility, is that because we are in Winter Park, we have a huge amount of park rangers that actually come out here and make sure there's no gators and there's nothing that is dangerous to the public, so it might have been removed. I don't know, all right? But did we see it? Yes, we saw it. So we're gonna still try to see if maybe I find it. Usually it's around this time that the critters, you know, come and they eat. So if I do find it, you'll see the footage that I was able to take from the python with my Olympus camera. In the meantime, you know, I hope you all have a great day. And I hope that you are able to learn a little bit of something of what the ability of this little setup can give you on a day-to-day basis, or even if you just want to have something that is very inexpensive and that is very capable to be able to take into the parks. With that said, there's one more thing that makes this Micro Four Thirds a lot nicer than all other cameras. And I gotta tell you, it is the IBIS, okay, the image stabilization that Olympus has is the best in the market. Better than Panasonic, better than Sony, better than Fuji, better than anybody. That is what Olympus is known for. More than anything else, it's known for the inventors, the innovators that started the IBIS and how good it is. This has a 5-axis image stabilization. Everything that you saw was handheld. You didn't see me do anything with no tripod, no nothing, which makes this a much more pleasing experience than having to take with you a tripod and other things that would make your carrying experience of your gear a little bit more cumbersome. What I carry right with me is right inside this bag is simply my camera, my water jug, and an iPad. That's correct, an iPad. That's all that is here, all right? And that's all I need. Oh, and by the way, and the microphone, okay, which I'm not using right now, all right? That's all that is here. And so that is a very minimalistic, but a very powerful tool that you're able to take on an everyday, whether you're doing the parks or just family fun, you know, that I highly recommend. With that said, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, bye-bye.